Good morning. Welcome to the online class on design principles for the web. In this class, we are mainly going to study about the basic principles that is needed for the connection between the web service or the application and the IoT or the machine to machine. IoT is Internet of Things and M to M, that is machine to machine. Now, in this particular video, we will mainly study about the basic terminologies that is used here. So, introduction. So, while coming to the IoT, that is Internet of Things or the machine to machine device network, gateway needs connectivity to the web server. So, whatever the data has been collected that need to be processed or that need to be analyzed and that need to be applied on business application or any other analysis process. So for that one, it needs the connection with the web servers. While coming to the communication gateway, it enables the web connectivity, while the M2M or IoT will specific protocols and methods will enable the web connectivity for the connected devices network. So here the communication gateway will enable the web connectivity. So communication gateway will provide you the web connectivity, and M2M and IoT protocols, which is rules you can say, or the methods, that is a function, will enable the web connectivity for the connected devices. So it will tell how the communication should be done. Now while coming to the server, it will enable the IoT device accumulation, which is storage of the data. Then the application, that is reporting, analysis and the control of the IoT devices and how the data has been transferred, those things. And collaboration, you are going to collaborate with the another or other IoT devices. So service and processes, which will be involving the people and the business processes will use the data, which will be using the IoT data. Now, application or the app. So this is the first terminology we are going to see here. Application or app is a software for application, for creating or sending the SMS, measuring or sending the measured data, receiving a message from a specific sender. So application or app is a software which will be doing the work, whatever it may be, whether it is going want to send the data, receive the data, measuring, or you want to create the report, or you want to send the message or anything. So application or a app. So it will be mainly depending on the user requirement or the user need. Now application programming interface, that is API. So again it is a software component which will be receiving the messages from one end. So the APIs can have the GUI also, that is graphical unit there. So graphical interface can be also possible. So in the graphical user interface, you can have the button, checkbox, text box and dialog box are available. Now while coming to the API, that is application programming interface, it can get to the input from the server or from the user. So depending on the messages or the input it got, it can initiate the action and then it can send the messages. So here it is going to receive the messages from one end, and it can be consisting of the GUIs, that is graphical user interface. Now when the APIs are going to receive the input or the message either from the server or from the user, it can take the actions also. So it can initiate the action and it can also send the messages. Next is web service. So web service is a servicing software which will be using the web protocols, web objects, web sockets. For example, when you're mentioning about the weather report service or traffic density reports, street lights monitoring, or the controlling services. So here, for example, weather reports, right? Everyone is going to get the weather report service if you have subscribed. So that is one of the web service. Now in the Google Map and other things, you are also going to get the traffic density reports also, and you can monitor the control and monitor the street lights also, whether they are working properly or not, whether there is any fault is there or not. So you can check that also. So that is the monitoring. uh, and then you have the object here. So while coming to, we mentioned about the web object, so either it can be server or it can be IoT or M2M also. Okay, so object, what do you mean by object? Object is a collection of resources, so which will be used to operate on the data. So collection of resources, mainly the data and the methods which can operate on the data. Now next one is object model. So object model is an usage of the objects for values, messages, data, or resource transfer and creation of the one or the more object instances. So in the object model, you are going to mention about the usage of the object for values and messages, and how the data is transferred and the resource transfers, how it is done. You will be speaking about those things. Now next one is class. Class is an instance of the object. Object is a class. So instance of the object is a class there. So communication gateway. Communication gateway is one that functions as communication protocol translator. So as it is already mentioned, communication gateway, it is mainly used as a translator for conversion purpose, conversion of the signals. Okay, so it will also have the provisions for the communication. So for example, here they mentioned the example of the Zigbee and IP networks. So how the Zigbee network data transferring, and or what type of the data is transferred when the Zigbee and the IP networks are completely different. So when the communication happens between the Zigbee and the IP, in the middle, communication gateway will help to translate the signal. It will help to translate the signal. Next you have the client here. So while client is a software object which will make the request, that is through an API or any software or any web browser. So it is going to make the request for what purpose? Either it wants the data, or it wants the resource, or it wants the objects. So it is going to make the request. So client, it can be user, okay, because we require certain services. So client, who is client? Client is us only, right? Now coming to the, a client can have one or more object instances. A client may also have an API or many APIs for enabling communication to the server. So either he can have the like one or more instances of the object is also possible. Now the client can be a device or an application on a network or an internet connected web or the enterprise server or the cloud here. So the client can be anyone here, that is device, application, internet, connected web or the enterprise server or the cloud. Now next is server here. The server is a software which sends the response on the request. Client sends the request, or client is going to request something, while coming to the server will be responding to the particular request that is generated from the client. The server also sends the messages, it can also send the alerts, and it can also send the notification. Now the server has the access to the resources, databases and the objects. The server, it need not be on the same device here. They can be present on the different computer systems. So it need not have the internet connected web also. And a web object here, one that retrieves the resource from the web object at the other end using the web protocol is called as web object. So the one that retrieves the resources from the web is the web object. Then you have the broker. So broker is an object which will arranges the communication between the two ends, that is server end and the client end. Now next is proxy here. A proxy is an application which is going to receive a response from the server for the usage of the client or the application, and which will also receive the request from the client or for the responses retrieved or saved at proxy. So while coming to the proxy, it is going to be the like a middleman in between the client and server. So the proxy is the application which is going to receive the response from the server for the usage of the client, and also it is also going to receive the request from the client also. So it is going to receive the response from the server, plus it is going to receive the request from the client also. Okay, so it is like in between the client and the server. Next is communication protocol. While coming to the communication protocol, as the name suggests, protocol is a rules here. So the communication protocol is going to define the rules and convention for the communication between the network devices and between the systems. The protocol includes will be having the protocol includes the mechanism for the devices or the systems to identify and make the connection with the each other. So the protocol, that is rules, will be having the mechanism for the identification of the devices and the system and how the connection should be done between them. Now while coming to the protocol, we'll be having also the information about what is the format and how the data should be packaged and how they should be sent, and during the receiving of the messages how they should be received, then how the headers will be present, and it will be having the different fields, that is header will be having different fields also there. Now next one is web protocol. So web protocol is going to define the rules and convention for the communication between the web server and the clients here. Now in the previous case, that is communication protocol, it was in between the systems or in between the networked devices, but while coming to the web protocol, it is between the web server and the web clients. Now it is a protocol for the web connectivity of the web objects, clients, servers and intermediate servers or the firewalls. Now it is also going to include the mechanism for the web object, and it is going to identify them. So the connections will be done for the other objects also. Now the protocol will be also having the formatting rules, and it is going to specify how the objects packets will be present and how they will be sent or how they will be received. Next is firewall. The firewall is going to protect the server from the unauthenticated resources. Next is header. While coming to the header is going to consist of the set of words here. The words is going to contain the information and the parameters about the processing at a communication layer. So if you remember the previous video, we have mentioned that different protocols are used in different layers. So while coming to the header, those information will be present. So which are the protocols are used in which layer? Why? Because it is very easy to decrypt that particular messages in the receiver side. Now header words are placed at the sending layer, lower in the hierarchy during the transmission, and it will be removed from the receiving layer. So here in the sender side the header is added, but in the receiver end, that is header is removed, right? So one side you are going to do the encoding, and on the another side you are going to do the decoding. Next is state here. The state will be referring to the aspect related to the someone or something or the form of the particular time. Now next one is a resource here. Resource is going to denote something that can be read, written or executed. Now the path specification is also a resource here. The resource is atomic. So atomic means what? Which cannot be divided further. So which is usable during the computation here. And resources may have the multiple instance or it can have the single instances. Each resource each resource instance has a resource ID. The resource is accessible using the resource ID, that is identifier. Mainly the resource identifier is either URL, that is universal resource locator, or URI, which is universal resource identifier. Next is resource registry. So while coming to the resource registry, it will be similar to your directory there. Okay, it will be very similar to your directory, that is resource directory. So what is done in the resource registry is it is going to create the resource instance. So when you are going to have the resource instance, that will be present in the resource registry. So when you are having something in the resource registry, you can easily know whether it is usable or not. Plus, you can use them when it is present inside the resource registry. But if it is not usable one, then you can deregister it from the resource registry. So resource can be used when the application uses the resource discovery. Now what even by resource discovery or why it is required? Now the resource discovery, it can be used to find the resource. Okay. Then you have the repository. Repository is like an a place, or you can say it is a container. Okay, container where you are going to have the resources. So refers to the subfolder or the folder or the directory which will be containing the resources and its instances. Instances, that is a occurrence. Now next is resource directory or the resource structure. which will be directing to the resource repository. So in the resource directory, it is similar to your phone directory if you have the phone directory. So there every information regarding that particular phone number is kept, right? For example, in which place, under which exchange, so what is the number and what is the name, what is the last name and what is the first name, those information will be present in the phone directory. In the same manner, here also you are going to have these information, that is what is the attribute or what is the properties of that particular resource, what is the access right, whether it is subscription is there, right? So this information will be provided. So here, because of the resource directory, you can search for the resource very easily. Next is path. While coming to the path, we is going to denote the navigation path between the two ends when assessing the resource here. So path specification can be URI or the URL. That is, URI is the universal resource identifier and the URL is universal resource locator. Now the structure of the URI is hierarchical. So the entity after the sign slash is a child of the parent which is before the sign. Okay. So you are going to separate the URI. Sorry. The URI will be having the this backslash will be there. That is slash will be there here. So on the left hand side you are going to have the parent and on the right hand side you are going to have the child here. Next is datagram. So what do you mean by datagram? It is used for the stateless connectionless transfer of the web object. So datagram is the unit, or I can say it is a packet that is used to transfer the data. When you are going to use the UDP, that time you are going to have the datagram. But let us say that we are going to use the TCP IP, then you are going to have the packet. Okay. So there is no difference between the, not much difference between the packet and the datagram. While coming to the packet, it is connection oriented transfer. While coming to the datagram, it is connectionless transfer of the information. What do you mean by connectionless? Okay. What do you mean by connectionless? There is, while coming to the connectionless, the sender and the receiver will not be having any acknowledgement. Okay, whether that person has received it or whether that person has sent it. So no acknowledgements will be there. While coming to the TCP packets, what will be there is, there will be connection between them. What do you mean by connection? It is not wired connection. Okay, so there will be acknowledgement. For example, if the sender sends one packet to the receiver, as soon as the receiver is going to receive the message or the receives the packet, receiver will send the response to the sender. Yes, I have received the packet. Like that, the message will be sent. So that is why it is called as connection oriented. While coming to the connectionless, no acknowledgement is done. Okay. So here the connection is happening also by using the handshake principle and those things, but here in the datagram you are not going to have any such things. Next you are going to have the representational state transfer, that is REST here. So while coming to the representational state transfer, it is a software architecture referring to the ways of defining the identifiers for the resources, methods, access methods, and the data transfer during the interaction. Now REST is a software architecture which will also specify the different practices, constraints that need to be taken characteristics and the guidelines for the creation of the scalable web service. What do you mean by scalable? The scalable means you can allocate more or you can decrease more also, right? For example, depending on the need, the web service, it can be extended or it can be reduced. Okay, so that is one of the very main importance. It is scalable. So that means depending on the request, it can be increased or it can be reduced also. So while coming to the architecture is used during the web design of the web software components, client and the web API. So you will be having the software components like web servers, you are going to have the clients, and then you are going to have the web APIs. So it is also going to support to the commands like post, get, put, delete, and it is also going to support the MIME types here. That is multi-purpose internet mail extension, that is the MIME here. Now MIME refers to the type of the file that are widely used on the internet by the web objects, application and the services. Next is RESTful. RESTful is referring to the, let us say that every constraints or the every characteristics which is followed is of rest, then that is called as restful. Okay, so it refers to the one which follows the rest constraints and the characteristics. Next is UDP, that is user datagram protocol. As I already mentioned, the UDP, that is user datagram protocol, will be using the datagram. Okay, so it will be using the datagram. So here it is a protocol at the transport layer for the web using the internet and the constraint restful environment, that is core here. Now while coming to the UDP, it is going to specify the way of enveloping the datagram by the header words, which will just specifies the port and the addresses of the two ends between the datagram transfer. So it is also mentioned how the header should be there and what are the information that can be present in the header. Now it will be using the hypertext here. So what do you mean by hypertext? Hypertext means text embedded with the hyperlinks. Next is HTTP. So HTTP, that is hypertext transfer protocol, which will be meaning that application layer protocol. It will be used as an application layer protocol for the use of hypertext as an app data transfer protocol. Next is hyperlink. So hyperlink refers to the specification of the URL for the resource path, so that the link can be established between the two objects. So when you click on the hyperlink, it will be taking you to the different page, that is which is mentioned. Now hypertext markup language, so it is the language that is used for the creation of the hypertext, which will be used to transfer the embedded text, images, audios, videos, images, frames, anything. So it is mainly used to do the create the hypertext. Next is XML, that is extensible markup language. So while coming to the XML, that is it will be using the language which is going to enable the creation, sending and receiving of the documents, messages, commands, queries, responses and the creation of the forms. Next is browser here. While coming to the browser, it will be having the client software which is going to display the hypertext that enables the navigation to the hypertext links which will be shown on the user screen. and which is going to display the GUIs of the apps, display forms, display servers, responses, and so on. Next is WebSocket. So while coming to the WebSocket, it is going to denote the API for bidirectional communication. Bidirectional means both the side. If you want to communicate, then you can use the WebSocket here. Now it will be having a much lesser header size than the HTTP connection. So it will be having the low latency compared to the HTTP, which is mainly the unidirectional communication. Next is framework. The framework is going to refer to the provisions for the number of software libraries and the number of APIs, which will be including the selectively changed by the user codes application. So here you will be having the framework. So the framework will be mentioning how the software should be there, how libraries should be there, and how the API should be created. So these information will be mentioned here. Thank you. So here we have seen the terminologies in this particular video. Thank you.